And then Bears Packers is the one to me. Like, I cannot wait to sit back and just watch that one. You got the two other games in that 4 o'clock window that should be blowouts, right? Like the Broncos and the Raiders, and then the Rams and the Cardinals. So you have the two first place teams there take care of business, and it's going to give the nation an opportunity to really drill down and take a look at, Ben Johnson, Chicago Bears. And, there is some personal animus, I would say there, between the coaches, that goes back to January, right? Like, and I think LaFleur may have been waiting for this one a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see the way that plays out too.
Here's what I love, and let's start there, because these are the games. These are the games that I want to talk about. I mean, no offense to Broncos Raiders, like I feel pretty good about Denver in this one. No offense, Rams Cardinals, like I feel pretty good about. Although they lost to the Panthers last week, the Panthers are better. But no offense to Saints Bucks, no offense to Dolphins Jets, Titans Browns. But you're like the side stage at Lollapalooza, okay? This is for big boys only this weekend. And let's start there. I think that there's a lot we could talk about on the technical side of this, and we will. But from the socio-emotional, Ben Johnson, I think, has been really, really good at riding with the temperament of the team, of finding something that clicks, of building that culture. And that was kind of the weak point that a lot of people thought, right? I mean, he was painted as a little bit more of solely a play caller. I will caution people that culture's always good when you're winning and you're picking up like more than half the fumbles, and you're all these things, right? Like there's a lot of stuff that just pushing you in the right direction. And so we don't know what Ben Johnson is going to be when what hits the fan. But I saw this guy with his shirt popped off in the locker room the other day, Albert, and I thought, okay, he's different than, I'm not going to say I thought he was, because when you report on this stuff, Albert, it's not me saying that I think that this guy's going to might struggle from an emotional standpoint. It's that other people are being like, I don't know, I worked with him, and you never know. And, expressing some sort of a doubt. But
I think part of
Ben has been awesome.
I mean, that question was always, and I think that's it was a fair question to ask. I mean, like, so you have the fact, like, he's not an ex-player. He's a little bit, like, he had come off as a little bit dry, right? Like when he was still a coordinator. And the way I look at it, like, you just don't know. And then you have like a little bit of like wishy-washiness on him, like in his previous candidacies. Like he pulls his name out of the Panthers search, right? And then the Commanders search, if you remember, that was a really weird ending. The communication of that from Ben Johnson's camp to the Commanders was really strange. Mm-hmm. And there were like these questions. It was almost like, and it wasn't necessarily fair to him, but I think it kind of like came up with these questions. Like, does this guy even want to be a head coach? Because he kept staying, and these things kept ending under weird circumstances. And so, like, I think that sort of thing required more investigation by the teams that were interested in him. And I could tell you that for a fact. It was like,
yes,
well, who is this guy? What is his personality? And there was a little bit of like a Mike McDaniel to this, where what I mean by that, and this is nothing against either guy, but like to explain Mike in San Francisco, like Mike would legitimately disappear on Monday and like reemerge on Wednesday with the run game. Right. Like, and like, there was just a way he did it where it's like, how is that going to translate to being a head coach?
Right.
And there was some of that stuff in Detroit. And because Dan was such a strong personality and Dan can kind of take all the oxygen out of the room, like they didn't need Ben Johnson to be a strong personality in Detroit. Right. That's taken care of. You know what I mean? Like they didn't need like that wasn't what was required of him. So that wasn't to say he couldn't do it. It's just that he never really did do it. And so how do you project that guy as a head coach? That's a major part of being a head coach. And like that's what that's what teams that were looking at him had to project.
Yeah.
And Ben's certainly shown that he's capable of it. But I think it was a fair question to ask at the time.
I do too. And I think that anybody who's and I haven't done my receipt check yet, Albert, but believe you me, I got them in my back pocket. Everybody who came out with knives for this show and other shows that I said the same thing on, that I thought the Commanders would regress. It's just watch out, right? Because fans, it's great that you live in the moment, but you have to understand that this stuff is not, it's not static, right? There's just, right. Or it's not linear, right? It's not this like just rocket ship to the moon that, next year the Bears are going to be 15-2, and the next year they're going to be 17-0, and then they're going to win the next 20 Super Bowls. Like, no, it doesn't happen that way. Right. And there are injuries, there's luck adjusted stuff that happens, but for the moment, he is certainly a front runner for Coach of the Year. And I think he has the Bears in such a unique position going into this Packers game. It's certainly not what I would have expected, Albert, all the way back in January when Ben Johnson's like, yeah, I'm dreaming about beating Matt LaFleur twice a year. And Matt LaFleur's like, I don't even know you, bro. And at first you're like, whoa, this is going to be strange. But now it's like, wow, this is a legitimate rivalry. And that's great. Like, I love, and I think this is what I've been trying to say, I love the fact that Ben has not at all caved to public pressure in any way, shape, or form, because there was that pushback. Like, why are you saying stuff like that? Why are you acting stuff like that?
Keep my name out of your mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. He is colorful. He is unafraid to be himself. And I don't know if you know this, but he ripped his shirt off the other day at that thing because of like a hot dog promotion. Did you know that?
No, I know. Yeah. The Wiener Circle.
Yeah, the Wiener Circle. Yeah. So it just was related to hot dogs, that people were going to get free hot dogs. That is
and the hilarious. Lines in Chicago were great. Like, do you see that?
Yeah.
The shots, So it's great for the Wiener Circle too.
Great. I mean, yeah. And anytime I can say Wiener 3 times on a podcast is great for me too. So the trickle down
effect. I may go, like, because of all of this, I may now go to the Wiener Circle the next time I'm in Chicago. So it's great for business for them too, right?
It truly is.
Yeah.
On the Packers side, I think that they've made it through their rough patch, and a lot of that was injury. But I think that this is probably a moneymaker game for Jeff Hafley, I would say. And Jeff has positioned himself really well. And I would actually say both of the Packers coordinators. My coaching list is coming out, I believe, next week. And the last time I kind of went through a round of calls, I heard that Matt LaFleur was really pushing both of those guys. Adam Stenovich on one side and Jeff Hafley on the other. Both of them could get interviews this year. But I think this is a moneymaker game for Hafley because the Bears are second in EPA in the rush right now, I think, since their bye week. 8th in total EPA per play. The Packers defense is coming up to that. I think it's like 14th or whatever it is. Now, they've been fantastic, but this is the kind of game where it's like, okay, we need to shut down the hottest offense in football. Yep. And I'm really excited to see what he comes up with because, this run game, Albert, for Chicago is just gutting people. It's destroying people.
Yeah. I think that's the one thing, like, when you hire an offensive head coach like that, like, I think the idea is like, well, he's in there to fix the quarterback. And that was true, but what they've been able to establish in the run game and how they've been able to establish the same sort of physical edge that Detroit had, and how they built through the lines of scrimmage. And, I think the reworking of the offensive line is like a great tribute to the marriage between Ben Johnson and Ryan Poles, which was an arranged marriage,
right.
Like those guys didn't know each other. And so, Ryan obviously knows what he's getting in trading for Joe Thuney because he was with him in Kansas City. And then Ben Johnson knows what he's getting in Jonah Jackson because he was with him in Detroit. Mm-hmm. And so now you got 2 veteran pieces coming in, and then you sign Drew Dahlman, you draft Ozzie Trapillo. I mean, the investment in the offensive line, and they made the same sort of investment in the defensive front, which hasn't turned out the same way because of injury, right? So like you have Shamar Turner, who got hurt. You have Dio Odonyingbo, who got hurt. You have Grady Jarrett, who got hurt. But they did invest in the defensive front also. And it's just sort of a philosophical thing that you saw Detroit built on that now Chicago is being built on. And now you add that to the creativity in the run game. And like just having talked to a few defensive coaches over the weekend about this, like after the Bears did what they did to the Eagles, which was incredible. Again, like one of my favorite stats of the weekend, I think I said it on Monday, right? But one of my favorite stats over the weekend was at one point the Bears on Friday had their best rushing total since 1984.
Yeah.
And they had a couple, I think they lost yardage on their last running play, and then there was a kneel down, and that knocked them off of that. So it was their second best rushing performance since 1984, falling behind another game in November. So their two best rushing games in 41 years came in the month of November. Think about that, right?
That's crazy.
Better than anything the Chicago Bears in 1985 did with Walter Payton as the running back. And you think about the history of that franchise. They're both top 20 rushing days. This is the franchise of Gale Sayers and Walter Payton. I mean, the two of the 20 best rushing days in the 106-year history of the Chicago Bears happened in the month of November. And so like you think about, all right, like so they get it right on a bunch of offensive linemen. And when you talk to coaches who have gone against them now, as I'm gathering stuff for this, what do they tell you? They're winning on angles. They're winning on leverage. That takes communication between the linemen and cohesion between the linemen. So you have like five guys who've never worked together up front. You've got a new coaching staff. Like how this has all come together is such a great tribute to the job that they've done, coaching them up, identifying the right guys, and then the players buying in. And that, how much easier does that make things for Caleb? You know,
yeah.
Like we haven't even seen what this looks like when Caleb is at his potential because he's not yet. You know, like he still looks, he looks better, no doubt. Like they've done a good job with him, but you can still tell there's like a lot more to tap into there. I don't know. I had somebody there, say to me like that, like before Ben came aboard, it was like, I thought I was taking crazy pills. Like I really thought we were making progress from a roster standpoint. It just wasn't, for one reason or another. None of it was clicking.
Right.
And then, Ben comes in and now it's sort of all come together. So I think, like this is one of those too. Like I know it's a cliche, but this is like one of those, like it's great for football when Chicago is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is just one of those franchises where having big games at Soldier Field late in the year is awesome. And this was at Lambeau, by the way, so I'm not mixing that up so everybody knows. I don't need to be reflected on that.
Back off, Albert.